Yes, it does. Talking to myself, it just goes off, doesn't it? I'm going to have to redo that, aren't I? Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to episode or part 20 of my thoughts on every episode of classic Star Trek, not the new stuff, classic Star Trek, up to Enterprise, from the original series up to Enterprise, yes. And scene. Bang, I'm on. I'm going to have to redo that, aren't I? I keep forgetting. I keep meaning to do it, and I keep forgetting. Anywho, we're up to season 2 of Star Trek Voyager, a season which took me ages to get through. I don't know why. It's not a particularly bad season. There are some good episodes and some not so good episodes. But it just took me a long time to get through it for some bizarre reason. I think spooky season got in the way, October and all that. But anyway, before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. Let's see where we're live. We should be live on YouTube. Yeah. We should be live on Rumble. Got to refresh it because it's stupid. It doesn't just start. Yeah, we're live on Rumble and we're live on Twitch. Don't know why I keep doing Twitch. Right, so let's get rid of that. Right, so I explore the description for links for stuff like merch and me books. There they are, Amazon Kindle and paperback with words and stuff. Me other the links for my other websites and my other channels and all that stuff. It's about time I did another song, ain't it, for my music channel. About time. Maybe get up to 20 subscribers. Maybe. Probably not. Right, what else? And become a member and you get early access videos and exclusive videos and stuff like that. And super chats and super thanks. We greatly appreciated, etc. Right, so Star Trek Voyager Season 2. Let's get on with it, shall we? We'll go through it and I'll give you my thoughts on each episode if I can remember what happened. You know what I'm like? I may start yawning because I'm really, really tired. Yeah, I'm at it now. I woke up at like some godly hour this morning and I think I did doze off again. But one of them times when you doze off for like a few minutes and then you wake up feeling like crap. And I felt like crap all day. Really, really tired. But anyway, let's get on with it. Right, here we go. I've got it here, queued up. He says, queued up. We've got Q in this season. Hang on, sorry, I pressed play by accident. Right, full screen that baby. Add to stage. There we go. We'll do it like that. Yeah, we'll do it like that. Right. So here we go. First episode of season 2 was supposed to be the final episode of season 3. I think when they released them on VHS, I don't think I've got my VHSs anymore. I don't think. I think I might have got rid of them when I bought the DVDs. But when they came out on VHS, the 37s were the final episode of season 1. I think we'd covered that last season, didn't we? I think I showed some pictures, didn't I, of the VHSs. But anyway, the 37s, Stardate. There's another clue that it's from last season. Stardate 48975. Season 2's kind of all over the place. It jumps about in the Stardates. There's like 4 episodes. Episodes 1, 3, 4 and 6 were supposed to be from season 1 and they dumped them into season 2 for some bizarre reason. But anywho, the 37s. This is the one. I'm not going to go through the... Usually I start these and I start going through the episode, don't I? But we'll dispense with that. This is the one where they find... I've got a name. Amelia Earhart. That's the one, isn't it? So anyway, but first off, there's the lovely Kate Mulgrew as Captain Janeway. For one episode this season, she changes her hairdo. And I don't know why. I've looked it up and I don't think there's an answer. They said they just tried something different. And it's in the middle of the season. It's weird. Maybe that explains it. My VHS of the Swarm had pictures from the 37s on the back of the box. There you go. That's it. When I did season 1, when I got to the end, I think I showed some Somebody had on eBay. Was selling season 1 of Voyager on VHS, and the 37s were in there. I did show it last season. I've probably still got the picture. I'll see if I can find it. Just a moment. I'll just get rid of that in case it pops up on here. I've probably still got the picture somewhere saved. Where did I save it to, though? I have no idea. Let's have a look. See if I can find it. Of course, it's not where I thought it might be. Let's have a look somewhere else. Is it in here? I thought I'd saved it. Could have swore I'd saved it, the picture. Or maybe I did, and maybe I've put it somewhere else. I can't find it. I don't know what I've done with it. I'm an idiot. I've put it somewhere safe. Is it? Right, I'll look in me other folder, my backup folder, if I can bloody remember. It might not be in that one. We could be here all night. And these streams, these Star Trek ones do go on a while, don't they? Come on, disc, spin up. It's on one of my external hard drives, and now I can hear it. There we go. Right. So I don't even know what I called it. It could be anywhere. And there's like a 3,500 files in this folder. Oh, never mind. It don't matter. You have to take my word for it. Anyway, where were we? The 37s. Right. There's the lovely Captain Janeway with her bun. Because she had long hair in season 2, apart from one episode. Anyway, they find a truck floating in space. Am I going to land on it? No, for God's sake. Is he going to show it? There it is. They find a truck, an old truck floating in space. So let's... I won't go through it in great detail. But they find the truck, and there's a trail that leads to another planet, like a trail of rust, essentially, that leads to another planet. So they land the ship. I think this was supposed to be the big reveal for the final episode of season 1, that they could land Voyager. So they land the ship on the planet and find the plane, Amelia Earhart's plane, but they don't know it's hers yet. And it's got some super duper technology in. So anyway, and then they detect another signal, and then they find, where are they? They find people. There they are, in suspended animation, and one of them's Amelia Earhart, or Earhart, however you want to pronounce it, and her co-pilot, whatever his name is, I can't remember, and some other people, a Japanese soldier and a farmer, all from the from the 1930s, 1937 to be precise. And what they're doing there is suspended animation. Anyway, they decide to wake them up, and obviously they're suspicious. They think they're still on Earth, but they're not. And it turns out they were abducted by aliens, and they come across. He pulls a gun out, holds them hostage, but then they come across some other people that attack them, and then it turns out these other people are humans. There they are, and they're all named after cities. Can't remember his name. Somebody's called something Berlin. He's called Fred Winnipeg or something. I can't remember. But they're all named after cities on Earth for some reason. And they're descendants of people that were abducted by aliens called the Briori, who we've never seen, I don't think. Wingrace will correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've ever seen the Briori. Would they be like grey aliens? I don't know, because we've never seen them. Irving Berlin. Oh, Irving Berlin. Hey, poor Worf. Anyway, so they found that they rebelled against the Briori and drove them away and took their technology, and now there's like hundreds of thousands of these humans living on this planet, and they have to decide whether they're going to stay there and not bother going back to Earth, because they've got these amazing cities which they never show us. But she says to the crew, if you want to stay, you can stay. If you got until tomorrow morning to make up your mind. Those who want to stay behind, meet me in Cargo Bay 2 or whatever. It's usually Cargo Bay 2 for some reason. And Worf was actually sad and drunk in that scene because he had to go to a wedding. So yes, that's why we're going, Irving Berlin, because it reminds him of Jadzia. It's really didn't smash the place up, innit? But he restrained himself. Anyway, so here we are. They've got to make up their minds, the crew, and they're saying, I think some of the crew will stay behind. It turns out none of them do, because they go back. She goes into the cargo bay. No bugger there. So they all want to go home. So, and then we'll go set course for home, and here's the Voyager taking off from the planet of whatever they call these people. I can't remember, but there they are. So that's season 1, the third episode 1, the third season 2, episode 1, the 37th. A good episode. There we go. Yeah, she went to the wrong cargo bit, but they're all in another one. And they think, hang on, we're taking off. We want to stay behind. Tough if you're in the wrong cargo bay. So yeah, a good episode. I did enjoy it. It'd have been better as a season finale rather than a season opener, but as a season 1 were troubled by strikes and stuff like that, I think. But it's season 2 that were troubled by it, and that's why they beefed it up. I don't know, whatever. With some episodes from season 1. But anyway, so there we go. So that's the end of that one. Right, moving on to see episode 2. Here we go. This one's called Initiations, I do believe. Yes. This one has a stardate 49005. So this is probably supposed to be the opening episode of season 2. This is the one where Chakotay encounters a Kazon shuttle. A Kazon shuttle attacks him, and he destroys it, then beams the Kazon on board onto his shuttle. And it turns out it's a Kazon teenager played by I forgot his name, Aaron Eisenberg, the late Aaron Eisenberg. But anyway, it's a bit like Enemy Mine sort of thing, or that sort of thing. But I can't remember why he's gone off in a shuttle. Is it just to do his prayers for his people, whatever? But anyway, so he rescues this. Where are we? Oh, it's a not silent. Kazon Raider, isn't it? It blows up, but he just gets the kid on board, beams him on board. He's going to show it, for crying out loud. There he is. I forgot his name, and we'll have to check. Does it matter? Car. He's called Car, and at the end it changes it. So we learn that. It's called Initiations because this is all about the Kazon initiation. It's like the Kazon initiation into manhood. So he wants to get his Kazon name. At the moment, he's just Car, and if he gets his Kazon name, by defeating somebody in battle or whatever, very Klingon, he will be Jal Karden. But anyway, the episode goes on, and he gets captured by the Kazon and all that stuff. And we learn some more stuff. I can't remember which sect he's with. Is he with the Ogla? Or I think he is. Does it say? Yes, Kazon Ogla. Who were the Kazon we met in the very first episode? Anyway, so he has shenanigans with them, and he ends up kind of forming a bond, not really a friendship with Car, but he does kind of help him. And stuff happens, and Car says he's going to kill Chakotay, but obviously he doesn't, and he kills his captain instead, and gets his Kazon name because the next in line he becomes captain. So he says, "Fair enough, you are Jal Karden," and that's it. It's an okay episode. It's decent. It passes the time when we get Chakotay going, "Akuchimaya, listen, my ancestors listen to my prayers," or whatever. So yeah, it's okay. I don't mind it. But that was supposed to be the opening episode of season 2, which I suppose fair enough. Quite often Star Trek season opening episodes are kind of low key, and this is a little bit low key, even though we'll get some space battles and stuff. But anyway, So that's initiations. It's okay. I didn't mind it. Next. What's next? The next episode is, because I can't remember, I've got a list here. Projections. Yes, this is a good one. I quite enjoyed this one. This is a Doctor episode. I haven't put it on the screen, have I? Have I been talking all the way through that second episode and not put it on the screen? I bloody haven't. I think I did with the first episode as well, didn't I? Never mind, it doesn't matter. We'll carry on. Windgrace is obviously not watching. He usually tells me about this stuff. Anyway, this one's a Doctor episode where it turns out he thinks he thinks he's human, and all the crew on Voyager are holograms, and then he's human, and then he thinks he's malfunctioning, and it turns out it's some malfunction that's happened. I can't remember the details of it, but it's a decent episode. What is it? I can't remember what. Yeah, it's just a malfunctioning holodeck. But I can't remember what's caused it to malfunction. Some power surge or something like that. What does it say? But anyway, Reg Barclay, as you can see there, guest stars in it, and he's trying to get the Doctor to destroy the ship to end the simulation, and but that would that obviously, because he's a hologram, because he's on, it's all going on either in his head or in the holodeck or whatever. It wouldn't destroy Voyager, but it would delete the Doctor's matrix. But anyway, they talk him out of it and they sort him out, and he's all hunky-dory by the end. It's a decent episode. That's it. Of course, we get good old Dwight Schultz as Reg Barclay. It's jolly good, and gets to shows his acting chops as Robert Picardo. But anywho, so there we go. Yes, that's Projections. Decent episode. Next one. See, we're going to fly through these now, aren't we? What's the next episode? Episode 4 is Elogium. I don't like this episode. This was supposed to be a season 1 episode. Projections was supposed to be a season 1 episode. This one was supposed to be a season 1 episode. And I don't like this one. Because it's a Kez episode. Who cares about Kez? Not me. This is where she doesn't get pregnant, but she's kind of going through Ocampa. Not puberty. It is kind of puberty, but it's called Elogium, where she prepares to have children. Her body prepares to have children, because remember, Ocampa could only live for 9 years. So when they get to be about 4 or 5 years old, that's when they have the kids and all that. And but she's only 2. Is Kez. So and it's because they've gone through some anomaly in space, and it's triggered her Elogium. So anyway, yeah, whatever. I don't like this episode, and it's all about her all sweating in the episode, and and Neelix has got to do his best to comfort her, but yeah, whatever. Don't give her monkeys. But it's all sorted out by the end, and she's worrying as well, because they only go through the Elogium once, and she thinks this is her only chance to have kids. So she wants to have kids with Neelix. And I don't know if they can, because they're different species, but she wants to have kids. But then the Doctor figures it out, obviously, and sorts it out, and he says she'll go through the Elogium again when she reaches the proper age. So everything's sorted out. Not that she ever does, not that we ever see her going through it, but anyway, never mind. Yeah, that's that. Let's move on. I don't like that episode. It may be, we'll see. It could be my least favourite of the season. I don't know. I can't remember, but we'll move on. Another one that I'm not a fan of, I think this is non sequitur, in it. Is that how I pronounce it? Non sequitur or non sequit. I don't know how you pronounce that bloody phrase. This is one from season 2, because it's stardate 49011. Harry Kim wakes up back on Earth. the Voyager has disappeared, and he's on Earth, and it turns out his friend Danny something or other, I can't remember his name. I've pressed the wrong button. Oh, what have I done there? I've done something. Oh, it's alright. I've opened it in a new window. I'm a divvy. What they call him? Does it say Danny Bird? I knew it was a weird word, Danny Bird. That's why I'm a songwriter. His friend Danny Bird went on Voyager instead of him, and he's trying to work out what's going on. He thinks, is it a simulation? Is he on another planet? Is it all an illusion? And it turns out it's aliens, obviously, like kind of Q-like aliens. But yeah, it gets. I'm not a big fan of this episode. Yeah, I can't remember what the aliens are called if they're given a name. What happened? Oh, there was an accident, and these aliens saved Harry, pulled him from the timeline, and what does it say here? I can't remember the details. These aliens pulled him from the timeline, and kind of, so he's existing in this like separate pocket universe or whatever. And then they send him back, and everything's fine or whatever. I don't like this episode. It's a bit too timey-wimey for me, but yeah, that's sequitur. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, it's poo. I'm not a fan of Kim. For some reason, Harry Kim episodes turn out. I generally don't like them. There was that one, where in season 1, it might be even in season 2, I can't remember. The one where he thought he'd died and he got swapped over with them aliens in Favourite Son or something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, whatever. Next. Didn't even go through that one, did we? But what's the next episode? Episode 6, Twisted. This is a decent episode. Another one that left over from season 1. They go through like an anomaly that changes Voyager, and it kind of doesn't make a lot of sense, but it changes the layout of Voyager. It's called Twisted, so the ship gets all twisted, and the turbo lifts don't work, take you to the wrong places and stuff. So it's not just that the ship's getting twisted into weird shapes. It's that just things are moved about for some reason. But there is also twisting going on. But anyway, so yeah, all that's happening. They're going to show us an example of it. At first it starts off, the turbulifts go to the wrong place and stuff like that, and everybody's confused. The Doctor's trapped on the holodeck with Judy Geeson. There she is, who's taken a shine to him. Sandrine, but. Anyway, they've got to work out how they're going to, save the ship. They think the ship's going to be destroyed, but I think basically, like in a lot of Star Trek, I think the gist of it is they've just got to not do anything, and the ship will just fly through, and it'll be fine. I think that's the gist of it. But yeah, everything's fine by the end. I don't think they had to do anything. We're okay by the end. But it's an okay episode. I don't mind Twisted. It's fine. Next. Now then, what's this one? Hey, I should remember it, but that shouldn't I? It's his parturition. This is the episode where she's got a different hairdo as what's the face? Captain Janeway. Tom and Neelix are on the shuttle. They end up crashing on the planet. Look, she's got a different hairdo. Look. A hairdo that she has later in the seasons, but for the rest, it's just for this one episode, she's got that hairdo, and for the rest of the season, she's got a long hair again. So, can you just grow hair in the 24th century? Is there like a follicle agitator that just makes your hair grow? Obviously, there is, because the Doctor used it on 7 of 9, didn't he, to stimulate hair growth. So maybe that's what she did. Maybe she thought, I'll try this hairdo. I'll go to the barbers Maybe they've got a Bolian barber on Voyager. Chop all my hair off, because she's got lovely long hair, and we'll see how we go. She thought, nah. I've had it like this for a week. I don't like it. Doc, agitate me follicles. Grow me hair back. But anyway, Tom and Neelix crash on this planet. I think it's this one. They're sent on this mission, and they end up on this planet. They crash on this planet. They find an alien baby, like some alien offspring, and obviously the parents come for them, but they've got to look after the baby alien. And Voyager's been attacked by the other alien, the grown-up versions of these. It's been done before, hasn't it? Pretty much in lots of different sci-fi stuff, But this is an okay episode. It's fine. They leave the baby so that the aliens can find it, and everything works out in the end. Obviously, it's okay. Oh, there's the where is it? Where is it? I saw it then. The little ugly little bugger, but looks familiar. I've sure seen these aliens before or since. I'm sure they've used that more than once. That design looks a bit like, I don't know. Kind of reminds me a little bit of that alien that zaps people on Deep Space Nine. I can't remember the name of it. Remember the one that it gets their head and zaps them? It looks a bit like them, but different. Anywho, yeah. So that's it. It's all sorted out in the end, as usual. And because Tom and Neelix are always falling out, because Neelix thinks Tom is in love with Kez, and Tom says no, he never would move. He's attracted to her, but he would never, do anything about it, because he respects Kez and Neelix's partnership too much. So they end up becoming friends after that. So there we go. So that's Parturition. It's all right. It's not the best, but it's okay. And Jamie's got a different hairdo for some bizarre reason. Next. Oh, she's back to her long hair with a bun in. Which is the next episode. That will patch this. This one's Persistence of Vision. Which one's this one? The crew experiences hallucinations brought on by an alien that put them into a trance-like state. Can't remember what happens in this one. I remember the episode, I can't remember the details of it. I'll tell you, I'm going senile. Oh, I've pressed the wrong thing again. Going senile, I am. Let me remind myself. I'll just read through the plot description. Rumty Tumty Tum. I don't bloody know. It can't be that good, can it? If I can't remember what happens in it. Genuinely can't remember what happens in this. If I watched it, I'd be like, yes. Come across some aliens, obviously. The Doctor's shrunk. I can't remember what they're trying to do. I think, is this where they put in hollow emitters throughout the ship so that the Doctor can go to different parts of the ship, which didn't quite work out, as we can see, because he's teeny tiny. Anyway, I don't know why people don't like Kate Mulgrew. I genuinely, back then, obviously she's older now, but back then I think she was super duper attractive. Anyway, look, she's going to go on a holodeck program. There they are. I can't remember what happens in it. Oh, look, she's kissing him and stuff, and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to spin through it because I can't remember what happens. Oh, look, Caroline Seymour as the governess. She's been in loads of Star Trek episodes. Well, a few. But yeah, weird things start happening, obviously. She starts seeing, that's it. She starts seeing things from her holodeck program in real life, like this cup and stuff, and then it changes to a regular cup. But I can't remember the gist of the episode. Anyway, there's a weird alien there in silhouette. It's them that's doing it. I think they're trying to take over the ship, aren't they? Is it this one? Or is that a different one? Look, they're all seeing people from their lives. But can't remember what they have to do. There we go. They stop that fella. I think they just send him away, and we're none the wiser, pretty much. They kind of left a little bit mysterious, and we beat them, and they go away. I don't think we ever see him again, but it's kind of left ambiguous. Will we see him again? Don't know, because they've got super mind powers and can make them hallucinate whatever they want. Bit like the I forgot what they call them. From The Cage, them aliens. What's that planet from The Cage? Can't remember. I'm thinking Tellarians, but no, it's not that. That doesn't sound right, does it? Whatever. Anyway, what's that one? That's persistence of vision. No, yeah, persistence of vision. It's fine, but it's not that good that I can remember what happens in it. Let's move on, so I can forget what happens in this next episode, which I probably have. Next up, Tattoo. Oh, another one that I didn't like. I didn't like this one either. It's a Chakotay one, obviously with a name like Tattoo. It's nothing to do with Fantasy Island. And the little fella's going, the plane. Not that Tattoo. Right, so obviously Chakotay, there we go. We've seen him as a kid. That's it. He's on this planet. Oh, for Pete's sake. And he finds a pattern. There we go. That reminds him of a thing that he saw when he was a young man. There we go. And now he's thinking back. When he was young, he didn't want anything to do with his people's ways. And there was something to do with some sort of aliens or something on another planet that they encountered that did. I can't bloody remember. But anyway, he keeps seeing this pattern, and so he wants to contact these aliens that are on this other planet, and so they do. They'd been to Earth, or not Earth. They'd been to where his people had set up a colony. They'd met him. Oh, they'd been to Earth. I can't remember, but they'd been there, and there they are. See, they've got. Oh look, oh, for Pete's sake! There we go. They've got his tattoo. Look, and so he's trying to say we're all cool now, and we're exploring space now, and blah blah blah, whatever. I don't care. I genuinely don't know what happens. I can't remember the point of the episode. I think it's just Chakotay coming to terms, but he'd already come to terms because he had the tattoo done. It's just showing us that as a young man, he didn't want anything to do with his people's traditions, but then he learned better, and now he does. And now he's a spiritual man. He was all for science when he was a youth. Now he's all spiritual, but still a scientist. But whatever. Yawn. Next. Oh, look, we're getting a flashback. Oh, aye, so it's Cold Fire is this one. This is where we're going to meet Suspiria. Why did they call her that? I don't know. But and Summer Campen. So we're getting a flashback of how Voyager ended up in the Delta Quadrant. There we go. The Caretaker's array. And there we go. That's all that's left of the Caretaker who died. Just a lump of quartz or whatever. But anyway, Kez is working with Tuvok to hone her psychic abilities, because remember, Ocampa like super duper telepathic, so he's doing that mind melding with her and all that stuff, and it's all going to go hideously wrong during the episode. Anyway, they come across like a miniature version. Oh, aye, yes. First up, the remains of the Caretaker are all rattling in its tub, because they're getting close to another one of its sporocystian life forms, another one of its kind. Because remember, there were the Caretaker and there were another one who went off, a female one that went off to explore other places. Anyway, so they come across another array that's a bit smaller than the Caretaker's one, if we can find it. They're using the Caretaker's remains as a compass, and there we go. So they come across another array, and it says that there's a camper on board who are really, really old. ish for a camper. I think like they're 15 years old or whatever. And it's I think it's Gary Graham, isn't it? I think is it Gary Graham in this one? Is it? Yes, it is Gary Graham as Tanis. Who made up the bloody names for this? Who wrote this episode? Anthony Williams, teleplay by Brandon Braga. Right. The bloody names have come up with a poo. Anyway, so there we go. Here's Gary Graham as an Ocamper, an elderly one, but he don't look it because Suspiria's taught him how to live longer. Suspiria is the other caretaker, as well as a Dario Argento film, which is rubbish, but I'm not a fan. But a lot of people love Suspiria. I didn't. I'm not a fan of giallo Italian horror. It does me head in. But anyway. So obviously, he wants Kez to stay with them and all that stuff. Teaches her how to use her psychic powers, and there we go. She boils a cup of coffee up, and then it's obviously all goes wrong. She ends up boiling Tuvok's face. There we go. Hang on, where are we? There we go. She boils Tuvok's face. Kind of gory, to be honest. But by accident. But he's fine. He gets sorted out. And then Suspiria arrives in the form of a little girl, I do believe. And she's, there she is. It reminded me of, where the hell is she? Oh, look, Kez is doing, there's Suspiria. They found a way to stop them doing their psychic stuff. And to stop Suspiria using her powers. It kind of reminded me of that TNG episode, Imaginary Friend. Reminded me of that. Don't know why she appeared as a kid. Just to be creepy, maybe. And she buggers off. And she won't send him home or can't send him home or whatever. But does she send him a bit home? I don't know. No. She doesn't send him any closer to home, but she lets her go. Janeway lets Suspiria go, and Voyager just carries on its way. Not the best episode, to be honest, but nice to see some camper again and all that. But whatever. Nice to see Tuvok get severely injured, but then he's fine. Next. Voyager at Warp. What's the next episode? What we up to? Manoeuvres. Then which one's this one? Where are we? Yes. This one's kind of building up. We're getting to a little thing now where we're getting like a bit of a story arc with the K's on, and it's going to build up to a kind of a head in a couple of episodes' time. But the K's on are always wanting Voyager's technology, aren't they? Because most of the races in the Delta Quadrant that they've encountered so far aren't as advanced as the Federation. They don't have transporters or replicators. Some of them do. Some of them are quite advanced, like the Vidians and stuff. But so far, most of them are less advanced. But they have warp drive and all that. But they don't have replicators, and they're always wanting, Voyager's technology. So that's what this episode's about. The K's on stealing Voyager's technology. Here we go. There we go. So they're attacking them, and we get Seska again. I think is it this one where is she pregnant now, or can't remember. Or is she pregnant at the end of this one? I can't remember. But is this the one where Chakotay goes off on his own to save Voyager? It could be. Yes, I think it is. He goes off on his own because he thinks it's his responsibility. Because Seska, because she was part of the Maquis, wasn't she? And now she's gone off with the K's on. So he goes off. There we get to Marge Culler, played by Anthony DeLongis, who's got a great voice. And I just think of Star Chaser, The Legend of Orion. He voiced the baddie in that animated movie. But you can see that Martha Hackett, I think she was pregnant by this time, which is why they wrote in the pregnancy thing. You can see she's wearing very baggy clothes to hide her bump. But anyway, they make a the kind of. Is this where they cut a deal? No, they don't cut a deal yet, do they? That's later. But obviously they get Chakotay back, and everything's fine. Marsh Cullers wanting to get other sects to join him, other Kazon sects to join him to take over Voyager, and then obviously it all goes wrong, and so, Voyager saves the day, and I think is this where we get a message from? There we go, from Seska, where she's saying, while Chakotay were on the ship, she took some of his DNA and impregnated herself with it. Make of that what you will, the method. I don't know. Turkey based as, I don't know, or is it technology? Probably. But anyway, she says she's going to have his kid. She's going to have his kid. You're going to be a dad. And that's kind of what it leaves us on that plot, that cliffhanger. It's an okay episode. I didn't mind that one. Manoeuvres. As I said, it kind of starts off a little story arc about the Kazon. And as we go on, we bring in the Trabe. But anyway, so that's that one. Next, which is this one? Is this the one where? Yes, this next one's Resistance. Not a huge fan of this one, but it's not as bad as I thought it was. But I don't like it where they get the crew or some of the crew get trapped on a less advanced planet, and they're like sent to prison or whatever, and they always do it in Star Trek. I think each series has its own version of this, doesn't it? Where they're trying to get their crew back from a totalitarian regime, whatever. And this time it's Janeway who's trapped on this planet that's got, like, as I said, a totalitarian regime, and they've got to try and get her back. Blah blah blah. She ends up with this fella who's a bit crazy. Thinks she's his daughter, and there he is. But I think his daughter had been killed by this, by the government. She was part of the resistance, and anyway, so they've got to try and overthrow this government or whatever, or just get Janeway back. And I can't remember what happens, but obviously they get her back. Presumably the Prime Directive applies, but I can't even remember if if they change the planet. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think so. They just save Janeway, and she ends up with a keepsake of the old man who thought she was his daughter. Whatever, yeah, not the best, but moving on. That was Resistance. I didn't hate it, but, I would skip it in a watch through. Next up is Prototype. I do like this one. I must admit I do like this one. This for some reason, for me, this feels like a TNG episode. I don't know why. It just does. Prototype. This is where they find. Oh, it's showing up. Why is it doing that? Because they found something in space. They beam it on board, and it turns out it's a robot. And B'Elanna decides to fix it. That might be my cat wanting to come in. Just bear with me, because it's raining outside. Just a minute. I'm busy. I'm doing the show. Meowing at me. Of course, it's all my fault that she went out. Now she's playing number with me. Where were we? Oh, right, robot. Yes, she behave. There we go. There's the robot, and she fixes it, and it turns out I don't know what they call it prototype for. I think it's because they want B'Elanna to basically these robots, they're what's left of an ancient war between two planets. I can't remember the names of the planets. I will tell you in a moment. Just bear with me. They're not called robots, called automated units of the Prey Law. And the Prey Law had been at war with some others, Kravik. And the robots, it feels like a TNG, plot that's probably left over, or even left over from Star Trek Phase 2. It does sound that kind of thing, where the robots were designed to fight this war, but they turned on their creators and wiped them out, and then just carried on fighting each other. But they can't recreate themselves. There's just that amount of robots, and so obviously the numbers are getting lower, and they want B'Elanna to make it so that they can recreate themselves, but it's the power supply that they can't recreate for some reason. And so they want B'Elanna, they kidnap B'Elanna so that she'll build a prototype, I suppose, that with a power supply that they can recreate. And so anyway, but so obviously she realizes, when they realise what had happened and that they'd wiped out their creators, and she can't help them, so she doesn't, and she destroys her prototype, and then the crew save her and just leave the two robot ships fighting each other. And there we go, like that. And their war continues, and Voyager buggers off. So they'll just carry on fighting until there's none of them left. And who will remember the Prey Law and Kravik? Don't know. But anyway, for some reason their ships look a bit like Doctor Who consoles, maybe. Anyway, yeah, a decent episode. I didn't mind Prototype. It's fine. It's one of the better episodes, in my opinion, from season 2. But anyway, we'll move on. Next up, look, start straight away. Voyager under attack from two Kazon Raiders. I keep wanting to say Cylon Raiders because I'm an idiot. This is the alliances where Voyager's been attacked by the Kazon, and all the time they're going through an area of space where there's loads of Kazon activity. So they decide they're going to make an alliance with the Kazon, or at least with some of the Kazon sex. So the contact Seska and Colour, and they said, we won't give you any technology, but we'll support you, in your if you get attacked, we'll help you out, and we'll give you medical supplies and stuff like that. But you're not getting our technology. They send Neelix to go and talk to another Kazon, and he gets imprisoned, does Neelix, and put in with some other aliens who are called Trabe. And it turns out, I think we heard them mentioned before, the Trabe, that they originally the Kazon were essentially slaves on the Trabe planet, or if not slaves, but a lower class. The Trabe ruled the planet, and all the technology that the Kazon have is Trabe technology. All the ships and all that is created by the Trabe, and the Kazon took it when they overthrew them. And so the Trabe are now like a nomadic people. So here we are. So they save Neelix and these Trabe, and so they think, right, so we can form an alliance with the Trabe, who don't look, baddies. They don't look like Klingons with feathers. They're just like humans with weird faces. Meanwhile, here's this Jonas. I don't know if we'd seen him before in earlier episodes. I can't remember, but he's been in contact with Seska, and he's a traitor. He's on board Voyager, and he's telling Seska this, that, and the other. What's going on? So anyway, with the Trabe, they're going to try again with this alliance, and so they're going to meet. They're going to get not all of them, but to get the leaders of the Kazon sects to have a meeting, and thrash out this alliance. So they do that. So they're going to meet on a neutral planet. Here we are. So here they come. Here's Marsh, Colour. They do mention that some of the sex. Obviously, is from the Kazon Nistrim, and it mentions the Kazon Ogla and the Remora, but they don't mention the Ogla Ma, and there's some others as well, isn't there? They do miss some out. But anyway, it's all a ruse by the Trabe, and they were going to wipe out the. Here we go. They were going to wipe out the Kazon leadership. There we go. And obviously that Voyager shoots on that ship and makes it fly away. So they said, right, fair enough. We're all, he says, get off my ship. And says, well, we could have turned the balance of power in this. He says, get off my ship. We'll carry on our way without you. So anyway, lessons learned. Don't trust anybody. It's a good episode. I don't mind Alliances. I think it's a pretty good episode. One of the better ones from season 2. But moving on. Next up, is this the one? Yes, it is. This is the one that everybody hates. This is Threshold. And I really like this episode. I don't know why it gets all the hate. I don't know. It's because of the ending, isn't it? But I really like it. This is where Tom Paris breaks the warp 10 threshold. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Because, as we know, the warp scale, isn't set in stone, is it? It depends on your system or your scale, how you define it. In the original series, it were a different scale to what they had in the Next Generation. But anyway, in this scale, the Next Generation, the Berman era scale, warp 10 is the fastest you can go. It's infinite velocity. And everybody in the Delta Quadrant agrees. They all have the same warp scale, it seems. But anyway, he's designing this shuttle. They found a new source of dilithium that can, focus the energy in the warp thingamabobs better. So he thinks he can break the warp 10 barrier, which will put you in. You can travel instantaneously from anywhere because you'll occupy every place in the universe at once. So it sounds, it is a weird concept, but fair enough. Infinite velocity. You would be everywhere in every time, wouldn't you? I suppose. But anyway, so they get on with it, and he does do it. At first, he said the doctor says Tom shouldn't undertake the flight because there's a chance that he might get ill or something. He might have a brain hemorrhage or whatever. And he says, "Let me do it." So he says, "Okay, then off you go." So he goes and he does it, and he comes back. The shuttle comes back. It goes off the sensors. It reaches warp 10 and disappears off the sensors, and they don't know what's happened to him. And then the shuttle just reappears. Obviously, reprogrammed it to return to Voyager. And Tom's unconscious on the shuttle, so they take him to sick bay, and he's just asleep. And they wake him up, and he says, "It was amazing. I went everywhere, and I could see everybody. I could see you, and I could see my dad on Earth, and I could see the Kazon and the Borg and everybody. I were everywhere. I can't explain it." And he says, "But it's all going away now." And they said, "Well, cool." So they're planning the next flight, but then Tom starts getting ill. There we go. He collapses, and something's changing. His DNA's breaking down, and then he dies. And then comes back to life. Meanwhile, Jonas is telling the Kazon, saying, "Oh, they broke the warp 10 barrier." And that's impossible. Obviously, the Kazon warp scale is the same as the Federation's. Behave. Sorry, my cat. So he starts changing. He turns into the Elephant Man and all that stuff. And then the fly, he's got aspects of a bit of body horror going on. His bits and bobs start falling off. His tongue comes out, which is a good bit. There we go. I like that bit where his tongue comes out. He's talking like that for a while. Anyway, kidnaps Janeway because it apparently doesn't show up on sensors now. There we go. He started turning into a weird amphibious lizard creature, whatever. and he kidnaps Janeway, takes her on the shuttle, the Warp 10 shuttle, and they head out at Warp 10, and Voyager heads off. Obviously, it can't keep up with them, but they finally catch up with it after I don't know how long. Does it say? I can't remember. It probably won't say in this, but they do catch up after a certain amount of time. Rum-ti-tum-ti-tum. Rum-ti-tum-ti-tum. Oh, it doesn't say how long. I can't remember. But passage of time, they catch up with the shuttle, and they detect two human life forms. I've gone too far, have I? No, I haven't. There we go. They detect two human life forms, but they're not quite human. They look weird. Look, they've got human DNA in them, but they're like axolotls or salamanders or something like that. And this is what they've evolved into. Paris and Janeway have evolved into. This is what humans are going to be like in 1 million years or something. Why? Don't know, but they are. And there's also young'uns. They've got young'uns, so they've mated. There we go. So they leave the kids there to their fate and take Paris and Janeway back and faff with them and make them better again. And there we go. And so she says to Tom, "It never happened." But anyway, Tom should be super famous when they get back to Earth, shouldn't he? Because he was the first person to go at Warp 10, and she was the second. She's the Buzz Aldrin to his Neil Armstrong. But anyway, and that's it. That's the end of the episode, pretty much. Smirk, I shagged the captain. Which he did, but just not as Tom Paris. Well, not as that version. I like Threshold. I think it's one of my favourite episodes, to be completely honest. I don't know why it gets all the grief. It's fun, and I enjoy it. Next. What's the next episode? Let me see. Meld. Oh, this is where we learn. This is where we're introduced to crewman Lon Suda, played by Brad Dourif. Who always plays. Why does he always play serial killers? He does, doesn't he? Oh dear. Or bad guys. He's good at playing bad guys, isn't he? But serial killer in. He was in Babylon 5, wasn't he? He was in an episode of Babylon 5 where he was a serial killer who'd had his mind, wiped, and he ended up becoming a monk, didn't he? He was in that. Did he play a serial killer in X-Files? I've got it in my head that he did. I'm thinking, I don't know. Obviously he played the Child's Play chap, Chucky, etc. Oh, but in Exorcist 3 he played a serial killer in that, didn't he? Anyway. Act what you know. He obviously knows it for some weird reason. Anyway, they find a dead body on Voyager, and it turns out it's Lon Suda. Lon Suda had murdered this. Is that it there? We're going to see it there. There we go. They found a dead body, and Lon Suda had murdered this crewman just because they didn't like the way they looked at him. They're saying when he was in the Maquis, he's not a Starfleet officer, but a Maquis officer. When he was in the Maquis, he kind of enjoyed killing Cardassians a bit too much. Also, by the way, he's a Betazoid, and it doesn't tell us is he telepathic at all? And not all Betazoids telepathic. They never go into that. I don't think they do anyway. Does it say? I'm going to look him up. I'm going to look up Lon Suda as if it mentions if he's telepathic or not. On Memory Alpha. Rum-ti-tum, tum-ti-tum. I don't know. It don't really say, does it? What did I type in? Was Lon Suda telepathic? No, Lon Suda was not telepathic. He was a Betazoid who seemed to completely lack any empathic or telepathic abilities. Maybe that's why he became a serial killer. Yes, this lack of ability is often linked to his sociopathic tendencies. Right, fair enough. So I don't know if it mentions it in the episode. Though, because he was a Betazoid without telepathy, and that's kind of made him violent, I suppose. But anyway, he owns up to it. He says, yeah, I killed that crew person. So they've got to work out what to do with him. You know, they're going to leave him in the brig or confine him to quarters. And Tuvok decides they're going to mind meld with him and, you know, try and curb these tendencies. But obviously it goes wrong, and he ends up becoming violent and all that stuff. There we go. He ends up wanting to kill people. But obviously, you know, it gets better. They sort it out. And Lon Suda, obviously, he's confined to quarters. But obviously, we see Tuvok showing some emotion because he's done a mind meld with a serial killer. But it was listed as the telepathic crew members in Counterpoint when they were trying to cleanse all telepaths. I don't know, I can't remember. I don't know, because it's going to die soon, isn't it? When we're Counterpoint. Well, that in season 1. Well, no, because we've only met him now. Or is Counterpoint something else? I don't know. Anyway. Where were we? Alright, so anyway, obviously they it all works out in the end, and Tuvok recovers, and Lon Suda is better for the melds. I think they carry on with them, but it does curb his violent tendencies, and he becomes not a value crew member, but he does end up later. In the beginning of season 3, he ends up saving Voyager. But anyway, so there we go. So that again, I say, it all comes out in the wash, and it's all sorted out. So it's a good episode, is that one? Meld. But there we go. He listed a bunch of telepathic crewmen, and Jamie had to tell them where they are. She claimed they were all dead. Tuvok, Suda, Vorik. Oh, right. I see what you mean now. Yes. I know. Yes, I remember that episode. Yes, they were going through space. Well, they kept getting stopped and searched, didn't they, by these aliens looking for telepaths, and they had them all hidden somewhere, didn't they? Well, in the transporter buffer or something. They were moving, you know, rebel telepaths, weren't they? Did they mention him there? All right, fair enough. So according to that, he was telepathic then. But it says, you know, that thing I searched for, it said he wasn't telepathic. Who knows? Anyway. But yeah, that's a good episode. We will see Suda again next. What's next? Dreadnought is next. I like this one as well. They come across essentially a weapon of mass destruction that B'Elanna Torres reprogrammed. It was a Cardassian missile. But anyway, here's Samantha Wildman. She's pregnant with Naomi. She's going to have a baby. Anyway, they come across I say what they call Dreadnought. It's a missile that the Maquis got from the Cardassians. You know, they hijacked it from the Cardassians, and B'Elanna reprogrammed it. Somehow it's ended up in the Delta Quadrant. I can't remember how it says it got there. I'm presuming the caretaker brought it there by accident or something. I don't know. Does it say? I can't remember if it said. Catches up to the Cardassian missile. I don't know if it says. It just says the weapon was launched and never heard from again. The Maquis were going to fired it essentially at a Cardassian planet, and but they never heard from it again. And so I presume, you know, it went into the Badlands, and we presume the caretaker brought it here, and obviously it arrived and then buggered off again. I don't know, but they come across it now, which is a bit of a long shot, but they come across it, and it's heading for another planet. It thinks is a Cardassian planet. It thinks it's still in the Alpha Quadrant, so she's going to sort it out. There's Jonas getting in touch with Kazon again. they've got to get in touch with this other planet. There they are. I forgot the name of it. Rakosa or something. Yes, Rakosa 5. Get to them. Say, a missile's heading your way. Is that a threat? No, honest. It's we're going to try and stop it, but just letting you know, it'll be bad if it does arrive. So they're just letting them know. So B'Elanna beams aboard it and got to try and reprogram it. It talks to her with her own voice, and it's too clever for her. It's got super duper. It's not just a missile, it's kind of a starship, just uncrewed. It's got loads of weapons. It can defend itself and it can travel at warp and all that stuff. But it's decided that it's in the Alpha Quadrant and it's headed for a Cardassian colony. Anyway, she basically she bamboozles it. She brings up the original Cardassian operating system and causes it to have an identity crisis, and that gives her. It basically argues with itself, and that distracts it enough for B'Elanna to destroy it. She uses a phaser to phaser through the manifold or whatever, and it blows up, and they beam her out just in time. It blows up, boom, and they beam her out just in time. And she's fine, if a bit cooked, and there we go. The planet is saved, but she's a bit burnt, look, but she'll be fine. So there we go. Good episode. I like Dreadnought. That's a good one, is that? Yeah. We're getting there, aren't we? We're nearly at the end. What's next? This is the one with Q, isn't it? I know this one. This is the one with Q. Death Wish, a Q episode that doesn't have Q in it. If you know what I mean, in the title. They usually have Q in it, no. They come across a comet, and there's a life form inside, and they beam it over, and it turns out it's a Q who calls himself Quinn for some reason, because Quinn begins with Q. Why don't you just call himself Q? Or maybe he does at the beginning. I can't actually remember. Let's have a listen when they beam him over. Does he say I am Q? He might do, actually, now I'm thinking about it.
Hello, my name is Q.
Oh, yes, he does. Fair enough. I'll let him off. But then later on, he decides to call himself Quinn. So there we go. So he's a Q, and he was imprisoned in that comet by the Continuum, because he basically wanted to kill himself, and the Q couldn't allow that. Because they didn't know what repercussions it would have. He does, but chooses Quinn, yes, when the real one shows up, so there's no confusion. So anyway, proper Q turns up, John Delancey. So we have him, and later on we have William Riker as well. Because they have a hearing, because he wants... this is where they end up as a Christmas bauble, isn't it? There we go. The Voyager ends up as a Christmas bauble. On a tree or whatever. There we go. Anyway, whatever. Sorry, they're all real. So he asks for asylum. So she says, "Well, we've got to have a hearing." So Q says, "Okay, let's have a hearing." They could just do whatever they want. The Q, aren't they? He could just wipe them out of existence if he wanted to. But whatever. I choose to believe it's the same tree from generations. Yes, I think we talked about this before, haven't we? In the tree in the Nexus, that tree. So they have a hearing. There we go. And this is where he brings. There we go. He brings Isaac Newton, who's played by a different fella than the Isaac Newton we saw in TNG, and also. Maury, what's his face? The actor is called what this man is called, but he did Woodstock apparently. Q helped him. Quinn helped him at Woodstock. Quinn made the apple fall on Isaac Newton's head, and then we've got and William Riker, who has encountered Q before. I can't remember what Quinn had to do with him. Does it tell us? I've forgotten. Windgrace will remind me. What did Quinn do to Riker? Oh, right, yes, of course, yes. Thaddeus Riker. Because he calls his son Thaddeus, doesn't he? Colonel Thaddeus Riker. In the Civil War, Quinn carried Will Riker's great granddad or whatever. Ensuring Will Riker's existence, he saved him in the war. Yes, Quinn saved his great. Yeah, I told you, no. Anyway, so have this hearing, and she decides to. By the way, I was watching this, and I was thinking, where is it? Oh, God's sake! I thought at first this was. I forgot the name of the actor. I thought it was him from Stargate SG-1. You know, the Bill. I forgot his last name. But it's not. It's not. But I thought it was. They took half of Picard's storylines from this one episode, pretty much, yeah. Q dying and Thaddeus Riker, yes. Anyway, the upshot of it is that she grants. By the way, proper Q, says if she finds in favour of the continuum, he'll send them back home. But anyway. But they go visit the Q continuum, which is rubbish, because it's we've got to show it in a way that you'll understand. So it's just a road. The Q are very unimaginative, aren't they? I mean, later on in the episode when we see the consequences of this, the Q continuum turns into the American Civil War for some weird reason. But anyway. He's saying the continuum's boring and, there's never any change. And Q's saying, well, that's the way it's got to be because we're super duper powerful. Anyway, she finds in favour of Quinn, so he basically tops himself. And that's it. He doesn't top. Well, he does. He tops himself with poison given to him by Q. So there we go. So it's Q's fault essentially that the continuum falls into civil war. But anyway, so there we go. That's the end of that episode. A good episode. Death Wish. And thought provoking in places. But it's always nice to see John Delancey, isn't it? Next. What's the next one? We're nearly at the end, I think, are we? Oh, crikey, no, not that far off. Next up is Life Signs. Oh, it's one I'm not a fan of. They come across a Vidian woman, there she is, who's Dr. something Pell, Inara Pell, something like that. She's a Vidian woman. So obviously she's got the phage, and she's dying because she's Vidian. And she's got like this thing, an implant, and the doctor, it's keeping her brain alive or whatever, and the doctor transfers her into a holographic body, and then we go see he's creating the holographic body. Computer, create some bones, do some muscles, and then do some clothes. So he transfers the thing from the implant on her into the holographic body, and then falls in love with her. And we see that the Vidians are a handsome race. I think it had been mentioned before. I think they'd said, before the phage, we were a handsome people, and we see what they look like when they haven't got the phage. So she thinks it's cool. She don't want to be ill again, and all that. And I think she tries to. The doctor's trying to save her real body. Her real body's still there in sick bay. And the doctor's trying to find a cure for her, or at least to arrest the phage from advancing. But anyway, they fall in love, or he falls in love with her, and so that's basically what the episode's about. But she doesn't want to go back into her deteriorating body. They're going on a date and all that, and she sacrifices. Oh, yes, this also. There's an episode. I don't know if it started in this one or if it started earlier, Tom starting to get insubordinate for a few episodes. That's another story arc that begins and carries on over a few episodes. Tom, getting into trouble, being late, and getting into trouble with Chakotay and all that stuff. He ends up pushing Chakotay over, and so he gets relieved of duty and confined to quarters and all that stuff. So anyway, look, Jonas is in touch with Seska, who's telling her what's going on. Anyway, so she sabotages the Doctor's efforts to save her, but he does save her. He talks around and he shoves her back in her proper body. There she is, and he says, "I'll love you whatever you look like." And so the dance, and then she goes on a merry way, and we do see her again in a few episodes' time. So yeah, so there we go. I'm not a fan of that episode. It's a bit lovey-dovey. I like the Tom bits though. I like Tom being insubordinate. But moving on, what's next? All right, this is basically. So I think it had happened for a few episodes before that. Tom arriving late for his shifts and stuff, and then it came to a head in Life Signs, and now we're on the episode Investigations, where suddenly Neelix has got a TV show on Voyager that I don't know, is it ever mentioned again? It might be, I don't know, but I don't remember. But this episode is called Investigations, and it turns out that Tom wants to leave Voyager, and he's going to go off with some Talaxians, because he doesn't fit in. So there we go. But Neelix thinks something's up. So he starts an investigation for his TV show. And there you go, Tom's leaving. And so basically it's all a ruse by the end of it. They found out that somebody were in contact with the K's on Voyager, and they're trying to find out who it was. And they didn't know it was Jonas because they were hiding his tracks too well. So they used Tom to try and, get him to make it look as though he wants to join the K's on or whatever. But because Seska takes him from the Talaxian ship because he knows the secrets of Voyager, and he says, I might not like him on Voyager, but I'm not going to, hand them over to you. But he's actually there because he's going to find out who's been talking to the K's on, and which he does. He finds out that it was Jonas, and so they do all that. Tom escapes from the K's on, and he says it's Jonas, and so they have a fight, and then I can't remember what happens to Jonas. I assume he dies. I've forgotten. They're having a fight with Neelix. Does it go into the plasma fire or whatever? It looks like it, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Yeah, there we go. That's the end of Jonas. Because he had a baddie name, didn't he, Jonas? Sounds a bit like Judas. Anyway, so there we go. So Neelix saves the day, and smiles, and all. And Tom's back. Saying it were all a ruse, and he apologises to the people that he ruffled feathers with, particularly Chakotay. He says, but, it was kind of fun. So there we go. So that's Investigations. A decent episode, fun. But do we ever see Neelix's TV show again? Life on Voyager. I don't know. But there we go. Tune in next week for the Doctor's exploration of the Boolean lymphatic system or whatever. Yeah. Moving on. Next episode, Deadlock, which is this one. Oh, aye, this is the one where she gives birth. There's Samantha Wild. Is it Samantha? Yeah, it is, isn't it? She gives birth to Naomi. But something goes wrong, and then suddenly the Voyager starts being rocked by some weird emissions, and Voyager's basically getting the poo kicked out of it, Power systems are failing. They're losing all their deuterium. It's just disappearing. But anyway, she has the baby. The baby dies because of no power and stuff like that, and it's all sad. And Kez is sent to somebody. What's his face? Thingamabob. Harry Kim. Harry Kim and Belana have got to go and seal off a deck. There's a hull breach because of all this stuff that's happening. They don't know what's going on. I think they've hidden from the Kazon in a nebula. And then all these emissions, pulses and stuff start happening. And the baby dies. And Harry gets blown out into space. Poor Hogan, he gets injured. And Kez goes running down to see to him. There we go. Harry dies. Look, he does a Queen Alien out of the thing. Grab my hand, no! And he goes out really slowly. Look, Harry's dead. Anyway, Kez comes running down. Have I missed it? She comes running down. I think I've just. There we go. She comes running down the corridor and disappears. Wow, what happened? And so saying, what's going on? So Kez just disappeared, and she's scanning, and there's a subspace thingamabob dude there. And it turns out there's 2 Voyagers in this area somehow. It probably explains it. I don't know. But there's another Voyager that's in like another universe or another timeline or another subspace realm. I don't know, but there's another one that isn't all beaten up. There it is with Harry Kim very much alive. But the Kazon arrive for this Voyager. Start pummeling it, and the upshot of it is the Harry Kim from the Voyager in the other universe has to go to our Voyager with Naomi Wildman, who didn't die, to the other, and that Voyager blows itself up. The Kazon board it, and she does the self-destruct. Oh, it's Vidians, isn't it? Yes, Vidians. Sorry, not Kazon. Yes, it's Vidians. I do apologise. Jimmy cares more for Kez disappearing than Harry. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Because she never promoted Harry. Yes, Vidians, sorry, not Kazon. The Vidians are attacking. And they take over the Voyager that's not in pieces. And she does the self-destruct. And when that Voyager blows up, it destroys the Vidian ship, and there we go. There's Harry heading off to the place where Kez disappeared. So he'll go into the other Voyager, and the other Voyager blow. Have I missed it? I've gone past it. No, hang on. Where are we? Where is it? There we go. The other Voyager blows up and destroys the Vidian ship and just leaves our Voyager there. And there's Harry. Just arrived, just in time. But it's not our Harry, but the kind of, they gloss over it a little bit. It says, things were exactly the same, pretty much, but they can't be exactly the same. But who knows the consequences? I don't know, but it's Harry. But don't something like that happen to him again, or does it happen to somebody else? There was something, wasn't there, with like a time difference. And he says, apart from a few extra memories, you're the same person. Was that Harry, or was that in another Star Trek? I can't remember what that were in now. I just remember that line. Wingrace, I'll know. But that O'Brien, oh, right, okay, right, fair enough. But this is a similar deal, isn't it? A similar deal. So anyway, so there we go. So he says, I feel like I don't belong here. They never don't they ever go back to it, do they? You don't have any. I'm not really Harry Kim. I'm not your Harry Kim, and all that stuff. But anyway, whatever. I think we'd seen what's the face had come back as well, hadn't she? I think in this episode, that Pell woman that the Doctor were in love with, but She tries to help him, but it doesn't do any good. I think it's this one, is it? Or is that another one? I'm just looking. No, it might be another episode. I can't see her there. Oh, hang on. I don't bloody know. The Verdeans are ugly buggers, aren't they? When they've got the phage. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, a good episode is that. A good one. His Star Online, the other Harry, was brought back by that race that remakes dead people. Okie dokie. Fair enough. Next up. What's next? Innocence is next, I think. Yes, it is. Tuvok crash lands on the moon. Oh, yeah. This is another one that's like a Season 1 TNG episode or a Star Trek Phase 2 episode where, it's rubbish. But, yeah, he crashes, finds these kids that said, oh, we've been left on this moon to die. So he's trying to save them. And they come across these other aliens. Says, you've got our kids. Just leave them be. And obviously it turns out, we're going to get through this one quickly. They're not kids. They're actually, it doesn't explain it. It's stupid. They're not actually children. They're actually old versions of that race. So as they get older, they look younger. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's stupid and I hate it. This might be my least favourite episode of this season. Because it doesn't make any sense. I say it's like a crappy Season 1 TNG episode on Star Trek Phase 2 that's been, reused. Maybe it is, I don't know. But anyway, whatever. To save the day, I don't know. But yeah, whatever. I don't care. Crap. Moving on. Hate that episode. Here's Harry playing his clarinet, Jazz Impromptu, which is this one. The Thaw, another one I don't like. Actually, we've got a few episodes actually that I'm not a fan of, but babies give birth to huge. Yes, exactly, exactly. I don't get it. Thankfully, they don't go into the details. Don't give us the deets. I don't think. But it's a stupid episode. Anyway, what was this one? The Thaw. This is one where they encounter some people. There's a planet. There's been a planet that's had a disaster, and they find people in like suspended animation, and they're basically trapped in there. They should have woken up already, but they're trapped in there. A planet-wide disaster, and then they're supposed to wake up after so long to repopulate or whatever. But they haven't done for some reason. So they send in Harry, because it's always bloody Harry, isn't it? They go on Balan. They go into the because they find that these people are sharing, their minds or whatever. It's like a reality inside, like a dream, I suppose. I don't know. But all the people are trapped in there by I forgot his name of the actor. It was in Spinal Tap. He'd been in the X-Files as well. Is it Michael something or other? Michael McKean. There we go. Trapped by Michael McKean, the clown, and he's basically fear. He's fear, and he's using their fear to keep them trapped. And it's rubbish, and I hate this episode. Another one that's like this is a bit like a Deep Space Nine episode, a Season 1 Deep Space Nine episode. It kind of reminds me, Calamari and all that. It's one of them sort of episodes for me. But obviously, they overcome him and they talk him round, and he lets them all out, and all that stuff. She says, we need fear, but we don't need you around all the time, basically. And off they go. Yeah, I don't like that episode. Next. What's next? Tuvix. Everybody's favourite episode. I'm not a fan of this one. I think, wow, this is a classic. Everyone's favourite episode. I'm not a fan of this one. I don't hate it or anything like that. I think it's because I find it, I don't know, a little bit disturbing. Maybe why I don't like it. Because I don't want to think of Tuvix being murdered, but it's the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, other one in it, sort of thing. So, but anyway, we all know this one. Tuvok and Neelix are on a planet with weird orchids, and they beam them up, and then they end up getting scrambled in the transporter, and they become Tuvix. And he becomes a part of the crew, and everybody likes him. But then and the Doctor is not sure he can separate them. So it's awkward for Kes because he still loves Kes, but he's also got his Vulcan family and me back in the Alpha Quadrant. Oh, excuse me. So all that going on. But he likes being Tuvix. First he calls himself Nevok, but they go with Tuvix instead. But then the Doctor finds that he can separate them using the transporter or whatever. But then by this time, Tuvix says he wants to stay as Tuvix. But she's got to make the decision, so she's kind of cold about it. And she makes that decision. And he's like, no, don't let him do it. And Kes is saying, I want Neelix back. So she says, I made the decision, take him, and he don't want to go. And it's kind of heartbreaking where they basically drag him away. She's saying, you're executing me. And not really, it's just fixing what happened. It's going back to how it was before. But anyway, so this is the episode that, everybody, the big moral dilemma, in it. Is it right to kill one man to save two men? As I said, it's the needs of the many, isn't it? But yeah. Anyway, it works, and they get them both back. And hang on, where are we? We get them, but they said she's looking. She's thinking, I had to make that bad decision. That's what she's looking. That's the look on her face there, isn't it? So yeah, it's a classic episode, but I find it, I don't know, disturbing. So I don't enjoy it, but I understand why. It's a well-regarded episode, but I don't enjoy watching it because of the philosophical consequences and dilemmas it throws up. But anyway, and Josh Temple's here. We're nearly done. His harpoon is at the ready, and not to moral of an issue. Tuvix should never have been. No, he shouldn't. So, but he was, and did he have the same rights, equal rights to Tuvok and Neelix? Who knows? But I think she made the right decision because, as I said, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. Is this the end of it? Yes. So next, what we're on now? This is that one where, yes, this is Resolutions. It's one where Janeway and Chakotay have got some sort of bug. It's better late than never. Only 2 episodes left. I've zipped through the episodes this time, but this is one where they picked up some sort of bug from somewhere or other, so they've dumped them on the planet where they're going to have to spend the rest of their lives because the Doctor can't find a cure. So she orders them to bugger off. She says, basically, leave us some stuff, we'll survive, we'll be fine. And he says, well, we'll keep looking. And she says, Tuvok, you are now in command. Because he's the next highest ranking officer, isn't he? Lieutenant Commander Tuvok. He's Lieutenant Commander in this. Oh, no, he's just Lieutenant, isn't he? I don't think he becomes Lieutenant Commander till next season, I think. But he's the next. So he becomes Captain. And so they head off back towards Earth. But all the crew are thinking, we've got to save the Captain and Chakotay. But anyway, they're making a life for themselves. We learn that Chakotay is very hands-on, so he's building things and building bathtubs and houses and all sorts of stuff. So he's getting on with that, and she's just she's still trying to find a cure for their affliction, which I don't know I forgot what it is, but they can't leave this planet because of it. Maybe she's got a bathtub. They find a monkey. There we go, watching them, and I think I can't remember what relevance the monkey has. But anyway, so the crew are wanting. They're almost ready to mutiny, but they're not quite. And Harry goes to Tuvok and says, we've got a plan. No, he does not. If it was a choice by Neelix and we're still about Tuvix, Neelix and Tuvok to be Tuvix, then yes, but they did not. Okay. It was Janeway's decision, wasn't it? She had to make the decision for Tuvok and Neelix, not Tuvix. Anyway, he goes to Tuvok and says, we've got this plan. This is where they get in touch with the Vidians. Yes, this is where we see Inora Pell again, isn't it? So they've got super duper advanced medical technology. They might have a cure for them. So that's what they're going to do. So they're going to get in touch with the Vidians. I think it goes a bit wrong, but she does. The Vidians obviously attack Voyager again, but she does send them the cure. So they head back. But just as a massive storm hits the area and destroys all her research, so they're all fed up. But they get back just in time, and they save them, and they give them the cure, and they beam them back up, and everything's lovely, and off they go. Crap episode. I didn't like this one. But anyway, we saw that Vidian woman again that the Doctor fell in love with. So there we go. Right, the finale of season. Is it going to come on? There we go. Of season 2 is Basics Part 1. Right, so Voyager. There we go. Right, we meet Lon Suda again, who's is confined to quarters because he's a murderer, but he's been doing the mind melds with and stuff with Tuvok, so he's all calm now, and he's into botany and genetic engineering. But so he wants to use some of his genetic expertise to help with the hydroponics bay and all that stuff. So he wants to say, I'll talk to the captain about it, blah blah blah. What happens next? I can't remember. They come across a Kazon who's did Seska get in touch with them? That's it. Yeah, Seska got in touch with them at the beginning, and there we go. We see that she's had her baby, and they says, "This is your son, Chakotay. You're a dad." So anyway, they all decide they've all got to go and save the baby or whatever. But they come across this Kazon who claims to have escaped, and he was working with Seska. He says Seska's been killed by Kulla, and the baby's been sent to another planet. So they're going to go and save the baby from this other planet. So off they go. But and they keep getting attacked by Kazon on the way, and the Kazon keep attacking the same part of the ship. Anyway, so it turns it's all a plan by the Kazon. And this fella that they've saved turns out to be a double agent, and he's got an exploding toe or something. I don't know. He pulls. Is it going to show it in a minute? He pulls something out of his toe. By the way, they're experimenting with creating holograms of other ships, and they accidentally put the Doctor into space. It looks rubbish, but anyway. That Kazon pulls something out of his big toe and sticks it in him, and makes himself blow up. There we go. Here he goes. He goes, and he blows up. Go on, get on with it, man. There we go. Like that. Hang on. There we go. Blows up. Damages Voyager, and they get boarded by the Kazon. The Kazon take over. Tom is in a shuttle doing something. He escapes. They think his shuttle's been destroyed, but he escapes. And the Voyager gets boarded and taken over by the Kazon, and they go to Hanon 4. Is it Hanon 4? Hanon something or other, does it say? Where are we? Doesn't say. I think it's Hanon 4, something like that. So they're taken there, and they leave the Voyager crew there on this planet. All 100, I don't know how many of them there is, 147 or something. Leave them all on this desolate planet and take Voyager for themselves, not knowing that there's still Lon Suda is still on Voyager, and also the Doctor's still there, obviously, as well. But they've got to try and save themselves. Got to look out for themselves. So we've got to find survival stuff, and then with Voyager taking off, we see it's all volcanic and stuff, and then we see that there's primitive aliens on that planet, and he's all laughing, ha ha ha! Voyager is mine! Voyager takes off, but the Doctor's still there, and so is Lon Suda, and they've got to find a way to retake the ship for season 3. And that's it. Do we get a view of the snake? It doesn't show it, does it? Or the alien thingamabob over that earlier. Oh, it might not have been here. might not see it till next year. But yeah, so there we go. That's the cliffhanger for season 2. The Voyager crew are stranded on a desolate world. Voyager's sodded off. Tom Paris may be dead. Obviously he's not. And the only Starfleet left on Voyager is, is Lon Suda and the Doctor. So what can be done? Will they survive on the planet? We'll find out in season 3 of Star Trek Voyager. So there we go. By the way, I like that episode. I like Basics. Part 1 and 2, pretty good. In season 3, they start moving away from Kazon. I mean, that might be it. After Basics Part 2, I don't know. Do we see the Kazon again on Voyager? I'm not sure. But yeah, so that's it for season 2. A few good episodes, a few rubbish ones, but for the most part, a decent season for the most part. And for some reason, that one episode she had different hair. But anyway. We see them in other flashbacks and alternate realities. Yeah, but they've kind of moved away from Kazon space, haven't they? In season 3, which is fair enough. Yeah. So there we go. Just let me sort this out a moment. Pressing the wrong button. There we go. So yeah. So we'll leave it there. So that's season 2. That's it. Not a bad season. Not the best either, though, but it does start getting better, I think. But there are some good episodes in that season. I like Dreadnought, and I liked Alliances. What others were? Oh, Threshold, obviously. I love Threshold. Yeah, after Seska and the baby, it's over, really. We never find out what happened to that baby. It doesn't really matter, does it? Because, spoilers, we found out that Chakotay is not the baby's dad, and it's Culler's baby, isn't it? Marge Culler's baby. So, but anyway. Anywho, right, we'll leave it there. We're all done and dusted. So thanks, Wingrace, for seeing me right and correcting my bad factual recall. And Josh Temple, who came in at the death. But let me just check on Rumble, make sure nobody's left a chat. No, they haven't. They never do. But we did have a stream boo. I'm sure I saw a stream boo. Yeah, we had a stream boo over on Twitch. I still don't know what stream boo is. Never clicked on it. Anywho. I changed my background on my other monitor. Look, I'll add it to stage. Look, so it's you'd never know. Look, spooky, yeah. Yeah, we'll leave it there. So what's coming up next? Well, there we are on Wednesday. On Friday, where is it? For Friday night appointment with Fear this week, we're doing Chernobyl Diaries, which, by the title you'd think, oh, it's a found footage film. It does start off that way, but then quickly doesn't bother being one, which is kind of annoying. But it's a decent flick. It's a decent spooky flick. But yeah, that's coming up on Friday. And next Monday, for Magnificent Mondays. We're doing The Running Man with Arnie. I'll be back. So that should be fun. Right, we'll leave it there. So, got season 3 of Star Trek Voyager to watch next. Hopefully I'll get through that quicker than season 2. I'm trying to think what episodes there is in season 3. Let me have a look. I've got my list here. Season 3, what we got? Obviously, Basics Part 2. Oh, a Flashback, which is one of my favourite episodes. I like Flashback. The Swarm's pretty good. What else we got? Future's End is fun. That's a 2-parter. Yeah, so season 3 is not too bad. Doctor gets his mobile emitter, doesn't he? Season 3. Yeah, and obviously it ends with Scorpion. Part 1. Yeah. But, yeah, so season 3 should be fun. Right, so we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching, wherever you are. Live long and prosper. And until... Hang on, where are we? And until next time, I'll say the...